Hi guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game up on the tip top is called Human Era and is by Lay Waste Games. They brought you Dragoon, I believe, last year. And it is a deduction-based game for 4 to 10 players. Think Resistance meets craziness, basically. In the game, you're going to be playing as either a machine, a cyborg, or a human being. And what has happened is there's become like this time paradox. Here's the 3 different cards. And you're trying to write time, and putting it back to normal as human beings. The machines are trying to destroy it, and cyborgs have their own crazy, unique agenda. In the game, you're going to go throughout 10 rounds, and after every round, the machines have a chance to win, and so do the humans. If you can fully write time as the human beings, you win, or if you can fully screw up time as the machines, you win. The cyborg wins on the 3rd round of the game, and at the very end, depending on who is in the correct spot, if it's 6, 5, or 4, humans win, or if it's 2, 1, or 0, the machines win, and if it's 3, the cyborg wins alone. But that's a basic idea of this little social deduction game that involves a little bit of bluffing, a little bit of intrigue, and a little bit of die rolling too, which is interesting. Alright, well let me show you the game. Okay, so this is Human Era by Lay Waste Games. As you can see, it's going to come with a little board that's going to demonstrate straight the beginning of time all the way until the end of time. You have a scoring tracker, and we're using these little nuts and bolts here to determine where things are going to be. Here's a die you're going to be getting, as well as a bunch of cards that you'll be using during the voting section of the game. These are all the different types of characters you could become in the game: a machine, a cyborg, or a human being. You can play from 4 to 10 players, but we're going to play a 5-player game, and we're going to be using 3 human cards, a singular cyborg card, and a machine card here. In a 5-player game, you take these rest of these and you move them aside. They're not useful. You're going to then take these cards here and shuffle them up so that nobody knows what is going on or who is who until after they get the cards. So you've got these cards here, and then you're going to pass them around the table just like this. And everybody's going to have their own unique card here. And they're going to look at them, right? If you're a cyborg, your objective is to either progress the game in a certain amount of rounds, or you're trying to win on the 5th round of the game, or if you're before the 5th round of the game, you're trying to help the machines win. So to begin, you're actually going to set up a tableau. So I'll move this aside a little bit so you can see. There's going to be 5 cards here, and then 5 more cards at the bottom here, just like this. That will have your 10 rounds of the game. And the game will end instantly at the 10th round, after the 10th round is over, and whoever is in these spots here is going to win, determining on what spots they are in. But you're also going to then take cards from the top of the deck, and you're going to find 4 unique types of cards. There's amoebas, cyborgs, Neanderthals, and humans, and you're going to place them corresponding to the opposite side of where they should be. So the amoeba should be at the beginning of time, so it's going to go over here to the discovery of time travel. The cyborg should be over here, the fall of civilization, so it's going to go to the dinosaurs. Neanderthal should be on the rise of civilization, so it's going to go to the end of time. And finally, the human being should be the discovery of time travel, and so we're going to put it right over here. Now, obviously, these are not right. They're not where they're supposed to be. They should be on the opposite side, but this is the setup, right? Now, your objective is to turn these face up, like the face forward, like this, and that would mean that they've completed and they're correct. Any spot that have a card turned sideways like this is incorrect, and any space that has it like this is correct, as well as any space that is open is correct. So right now, we start at 2. That's how the game's going to begin. Now, if the game were to end right here, the machines would win. That's the basic idea. At the beginning of the round, everybody is going to get 3 cards, and it depends on the number of players in the game based on how many cards they're going to be getting. But these three cards are going to be based off of these 6 different types of things. You could have a T-Rex, Neanderthal, amoeba, cyborg, human, so on and so forth. So you've got those 5 cards. I have 3 cards for everybody, all 5 different players. They all have their own unique goals. Then we're going to start off by the first round. You just choose anybody you want to be the commander of the game, and that person is then going to select 3 people to go on a mission, including themselves. How do they do that? Well, they simply first roll the die. So if this player starts, they're going to roll the die, 3, and they're going to start from here, and this is 1, 2, and then 3, the rise of civilization. Now, you're going to want to have human beings at the rise of civilization, and so you're going to ask everybody, do you guys have human beings? And if nobody has human beings, that's okay. You can actually still succeed. And the way you would do that is these cards here are not right. So you could create a paradox. And how do paradoxes work? Well, that's pretty simple. If the card flipped over and revealed here is a card that matches any other card, that paradox is going to remove the card that it matches. So if a cyborg is revealed, this card will go away, and this would be blank, which means that the Age of Dinosaurs is now good. The Rise of Civilization wouldn't, so it would still stay at its 2 marker, but you wouldn't suffer any losses. For instance, let me go ahead and see. So we have this player who's going to start. Now we're looking for human beings. He has one, and he is playing as a human, so he's definitely going to be having himself join the match. This player over here has 2 machines and Neanderthal, but he's a machine, so maybe he wants to try and screw things up. He could say, hey, I actually do have a human being. This character over here is, what is he playing as a human? He has a human as well, so that's good for him. Over here is another human being, so he could select yes, but yep, he's also a human being, so this is the cyborg. Cyborg doesn't have one, so he's just going to be neutral here. So he would get to select 3 people, and if he selects these 3 people here, he would get 3 human being cards most likely. They can go ahead and select any cards they want, but before they do that, there's a vote that occurs. It says, okay, I want these 3 players to go on a mission, myself and these 2 people. Is that okay? And you're going to have a thumb that's going to go like this, and you say 1, 2, 3, yeses and nos. Majority wins, and if it's up as a yes, that means that we're going to continue the mission. If it's a no, then we're not going to have a round, and we just simply have one of these cards get flipped over and put in that spot. Now that card could be a bad card, not help us and have us go down. So if that would happen, it would be like this. Oh, human being. See, but for instance, if it was a human being, it would actually be good. that would help us. However, if it did go through, we'd have these people select on the mission, and they would go ahead and choose their cards. They could choose any cards they want, depending if they want to screw things up or not. And then they would go ahead and pick. Now, these are all human beings, so I'll pick the humans. But you're going to then shuffle these cards. You take these 3 cards, shuffle them up, then turn them over and place them. Luckily, there's human beings, and you can actually go ahead and look at all of them. Okay, so after these cards have been placed, and they are all 3 human beings, that's good. It does keep us at our 2. But remember, paradoxes occur. So we look at the board. Does any other space have a human being? And if it does, that card is going to get removed. So this card is going to go away. Now that card has been removed. The beginning of time is at blank, so we've actually incurred a bonus here, and we've moved it up to 3. So that's a pretty solid thing here. Paradoxes happen, and the main thing is what happens is when a card gets put face up on the field, that card is the primary. Any other card is a secondary card. That card would get removed. So if this was a human here, this was a human here, and got removed. Then another card popped up, and maybe this card was a cyborg. Then this would stay, and this would get removed, and it would repeat that paradox just like that. After all the paradoxes are done, you're going to see wherever this thing is supposed to be landing on. If at any point it hits 0 or 6, that is the winner. The only time it doesn't occur that way is when randomness happens. This is the part where it's random. Before the next player gets to go, the next team leader, so it would maybe go from him to him, you got to roll a die and see what happens. So you roll this die here, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to take a card, flip it over, and put it in that location. So we just lost the fall of civilization. Now it goes back down to 2. Then that next player is going to select their team, and it would continue like that, playing cards down. Now remember, don't forget, when you play a card like this, another paradox is going to occur, and this is going to hit, and this is going to hit as well, and we're back to being okay again. So that's really positive to put it on a lot of human beings. So paradox can occur whenever cards get put down. But the game's going to continue like that. The only thing interesting about this, or unique about this game that I haven't discussed, is the fact that the cyborg does some crazy stuff. The first 5 rounds of the game, the first 4 rounds of the game, the cyborg is trying to help the machines. If the cyborg can get it to 0 with the machines, the cyborg is going to win with the machines. On the 5th round, however, if the cyborg can make it go to 3, the cyborg would win alone. And if any point after that, if the game were to end, the cyborg is going to lose. The only way the cyborg wins is if all 10 rounds are completed. The cyborg would then win with the winning side, no matter what side it was. This one, or by himself anyway. And so that's the idea of the game. You rinse and repeat. After the round is over, you're always going to be doing that randomness that happens, and you're going to pick the spot 6, and you're going to flip a new card over, do any paradoxes, and continue like that. The machines are always going to try and put bad cards in, but that doesn't necessarily matter, because sometimes they're going to get maybe a human, and, I don't know, a T-Rex, but if the T-Rex is over here, when you flip over the cards, it's not going to affect it. However, it might later during a paradox. And you can continue through 10 rounds, and at the end, whoever this spot place this thing is in the spot is going to determine the winner of the game, human era. So that's the basic idea for the game Human Era by Lay Waste Games. As you could tell, it's very similar to games like The Resistance and Secret Hitler and so on and so forth, but it has a lot of unique qualities as well. First of all, the board is very, very different. In fact, you're going to be doing a lot of craziness throughout the game. It's basically what I would call funny Resistance, because you never know what's going to happen. Not only during your turn, depending on who you pick, is when you shuffle the cards up and flip it over to see what happens. You might have all those paradoxes, but also beginning of every round, before the next player gets to go, you're going to flip over a card and put it down in a location, and that might screw everything up. Could be for the humans or machines, you don't know. Now, you can't win or lose on this specific flip, only on the actual rounds, but throughout the game, everybody is vying for control. And throwing in that unique cyborg class, that cyborg is really, really cool, this guy, because he works against humans, by himself, and then he kind of works for the humans. Or really, he works not against the humans. So he's kind of almost a neutral class in his own way, but he can be a detriment. And in fact, in some situations, the machines and the humans have to work together on that 5th round to make sure it doesn't end up at 3, because the cyborg is going to win. So they have to come together, which is a really unique aspect to this game. Now, that being said, when you're playing the game as a machine, it's more than likely going to be easier for people to catch you if you screw up, specifically because you're not doing yes or no votes. It's actually between 6 different types of cards. And if you say you're going to put down one, and in all 3 cards there's not one of those cards to be found, you gotta be really on top of your game. A 5-player game, there's only one machine. It does increase as the player count increases, but you still have to be aware, because once you're caught, it can be very difficult for you to get on a team, in fact near impossible. So do be aware of that. The game is a lot more jokey and funny, you know, seeing all these crazy paradox things happen, and even if the machine is caught, he can still win, because all the craziness can happen, flipping the paradoxes and whatnot, and you're going to see sometimes where they just combos into crazy different shenanigans. A really fun little game. If you like Resistance, but it's maybe a little too serious for you, a little too cutthroat, but you still want to play those deduction games, this is going to be a more fun, joking style game like that. However, if you like the Resistance and you like that feel to it and it's still fun and all that for you, maybe you might not want to pick this one up. That's kind of a toss-up depending on how you feel about those type of games. If you don't have either of the games, they're both unique in their own right. One's going to be more on the humorous section, one's going to be more on the serious, like cutthroaty section. When I was playing this game, we were just laughing and cracking up the entire time. As with Resistance, we're at each other's throats and you lied to me and whatnot. This one's not so serious like that. It's kind of fun to play, as well as figuring out which different types of classes people are, because the cyborg can sometimes help you, and you can kind of say, oh, I think you might be the cyborg. But this round, the machines might win, and it's after the 5th round, so we need your help to succeed this. And if you do have the card, that'd be great. And the guy might lie or he might tell the truth about it. It just depends. But no matter what, he might jump on your side, which is so unique. The board aspect is unique, and even the random die element is, I like it. There's nothing wrong with the randomness in this game, because it adds to that craziness, and that's really what this game is. So if you like this kind of style game, I suggest checking it out. It's currently on Kickstarter, description below.